And so I was working as an accountant, a forensic accountant in one of the big accounting firms in LA and living in Long Beach. And so I was taking the train and I needed sort of a creative outlet from number crunching and spreadsheets and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was a huge reader, so I decided I was going to try and start writing. And so I would actually write on the train to and from work. And it started out, I had a urban organic gardening blog.
Uh-huh.
I did a book review blog. I would write little short stories about the people on the train. So it was really casual, but eventually tried my hand at a novel, finished that, well, 3 or 4 attempts later, finished a novel. It was terrible, didn't publish it. And then in 2012, I had my first daughter. And so I decided I was going to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom, or a work-from-home mom, and decided to take the writing more seriously. And so that's when I came up with the idea for the character that would become Rie from The Last Descendant, my debut novel. And 3 years later, just before I had my second daughter, I published that novel. And I went the indie route because I knew that as a, undergraduate business minor, I'd always wanted to run my own business, and I knew I
Hmm.
could be a good project manager, and I knew I
Yeah.
could, do the whole production line and do it well. So I decided to go indie. I never even tried to get an agent or a publisher or anything like that.
Yeah.
And now, 10 years later, we're, here we are.
That's awesome. You guys always run the best Kickstarters, in my opinion, with those degrees. Like I'm like, and it's funny because I'll see something and like I'm like, oh, I really like that, and I'm always like trying to explain those kind of skills to my students, particularly
Mhm.
for like design and stuff. And I'm like, I'll show them sometimes. I'll be like, which of these Kickstarters do you think is better? And I'm like, why, right? And it's really funny to, to see them, right? But a lot of them are, I work at a tech school, so they're working on, some different things, but a lot of them have a lot of different design classes and things that are leading into engineering or, different things, CIS, computer information systems, stuff like that. So, but it's
Mhm.
always interesting to show them how you can apply those types of skills into something like a Kickstarter or a book, or just making sure that the everything looks really appealing,
Yeah.
or attracts people to it. So it's interesting because they all love Kickstarter. They buy different stuff or games or whatever. So I don't know. It's cool to be able to use that medium to show where these are where these skills can lead you. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of makes it for a fun time to teach it to them because I get to go on Kickstarter too, and a lot of times they'll show me different things that maybe I wouldn't have backed without them because it's a different age and audience and stuff. So it's interesting.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting too because I think one of the things that gets overlooked a lot in self-publishing, and I actually don't like the term self-publishing. I prefer indie, but when people think of self-publishing, they think of someone who just writes a book and then publishes it. Period. End
Yeah,
of story. And then they put it up on Amazon, and oh, maybe it's going to do great, maybe it's not. But that's actually, if you're doing it quote unquote right, with the intention of sales, with the intention of turning it into a business and earning an income, getting people to pay for your writing, that changes the dynamic. And so really to be an indie author, you have to have lots and lots of hats, and you have to have lots and lots of skills. And so in my case, like having that business degree was huge, and working as an accountant for years. Spreadsheets, I'm not afraid of spreadsheets. I'm not afraid of doing timelines and project management. I know what a Gantt chart is. These things that people who come at it purely from the creative side might not know.
yep,
And so I was able to incorporate all that. But even if you do come from a purely creative side, you might have, visual design skills that I'm learning. You might have other skills too. And so being able to bring all that in and always being a lifelong learner and figuring out what is the next skill I need to acquire so that I can do this thing better,
yeah,
has been a huge part of my journey as well. It's always about trying something new, experimenting, seeing what works, what feels right to me as a creator, because what works for me is not necessarily what's going to work for you, or for, other author down the street.
yep,
We all have different skill sets, and it's how you combine those things that makes you as a creator and you as a business person unique. And Sorry, my opinion here, but that's what's going to save the creative industry in the future.